So I just wanted to say thank you very much to Morag and Malcolm for being part of the project in East Ren and being peer trainees. So you really hadn't had a lot of training or experience doing that peer work. And I would like you just to tell us, for the sake of this celebration of learning film, tell us a little bit, perhaps Malcolm first, about what course were you involved in, what was your role, and perhaps give us a highlight.
It was a great opportunity. My role was a sort of a peer trainee working with Claire Dalzell, the actual tutor for the course. And Claire and I had never met before the programme. We sort of just came together literally online on Zoom. And it was amazing what similarities we had. Claire's got a photography background, I've got a strong photography background. And it was very obvious that whilst we'd approached the Zen photography and mindfulness imaging from completely different aspects, we've got massive similarities. So we seem to work together quite well right from the very start. So that was quite interesting. And probably the highlight of the whole course for me, on a personal perspective, was when we introduced kintsugi, which is the classic Japanese sort of philosophy of filling your cracks with gold lacquer. That for me, the symbolism and the way it was presented by Claire crystallized everything I'd been doing for the last 5 to 10 years with mindfulness photography. And I speak with Claire sort of after each session and towards the end in a bit of a summary. We felt that the students had really enjoyed the program. They'd really moved forward. It was very clear that there were 2 or 3 that were a little bit hesitant in the first instance, quite rightly so, and obviously. But towards the end, they were talking and sharing information, and they sort of crushed that little barrier and become far more confident in themselves and their own abilities to actually talk and communicate with what effectively are strangers on the end of a microphone and your computer screen.
Hi, my name's Mo Finlay, and I was a peer trainee on the Exploring Recovery course. And that was with yourself, Jeanette, and with RAMH's Fiona McRae. I really enjoyed being a peer in the course because it gave you that little bit more responsibility than what you would have if you were a student. And it also gave me, by having this role of responsibility, it's gave me a lot of feeling of self-belief, and my confidence has rocketed as a result of it. And it's almost igniting skills in me that I'd forgotten I had, because I come from a teaching background and haven't worked for a long time because of my health. And it made me realize that you don't have to, that you can be yourself and that skills are interchangeable in your life. So never say never, and always be open and receptive to new ideas. And what I particularly liked about being a peer was that I was challenged, and my comfort zone was definitely pushed, but you knew you weren't being asked to do anything that you didn't think you could manage. And that just really, I don't know, I went about for the 6 weeks with a big grin on my face. But over the 6 weeks, there was a sense of excitement, a sense of learning, and a sense of belonging and being connected to one another. And I think that, if that's what can be achieved in a 6-week pilot, then what would happen, if this was an ongoing program? Because just seeing how the students changed, the leaders like Jeanette and Fiona changed, and myself changed, it was just a remarkable experience to be in.
Thanks for that, Mo. Is there a particular highlight across the course for you?
Yeah, I think the highlight of my course was being given the poetry slot at the end. I just loved that. And like having all the good feedback from folk, and like thinking, yeah, this is worthwhile. And that as a spin-off has got me writing again and, doing stuff like that. And also another highlight was just seeing how everyone developed on the course, how everyone's recovery journeys had their ups, had their downs. But then that's life, and it's not how to prevent the downs, but it's how we cope with them. And that was something that really was highlighted in the course for me.
you know, it can be, as I described it, it's a little snowball that rolls down a hill. And the more it rolls, the bigger it gets, and the more involved you become. And the more powerful it becomes as a tool for mindfulness, because you start just doing it without having to think about it and activate it. It just becomes part of your life, you know, and it's just something that you can use every day, even, you know, without having to put any major effort into it. But it's that great use of creativity that diverts your mind away from, let's say, every day into a completely new world. And you can invent and make that world yourself. You're in total control of it. And the pleasures you get from it and the time spent involved in it are just, you know, invaluable in my mind.
And for me, the chime model, the connectiveness, the hope, the identity, the meaning, and the empowerment of someone's journey is just a fascinating, what would you call it? A fascinating perspective to take. And I really connected with it. And I would hope that RAMH in the future would be able to get funding and to continue to roll the courses out and to have a wider selection of courses, and working very closely with peers like myself and Malcolm, and to work in partnership with everyone and just get people, you know, get people on the recovery journey. And in this time of COVID, when we're in a very uncertain world, when our futures are uncertain, but just to give us something to look forward to and to empower us and to give us hope and an identity to our lives. That's, you know, where I would like to see RAMH coming in.
What do you think the difference is? Because this has been debated in the evaluation a little bit. What do you think the difference is with being considered a service user or considered a student?
And I've been thinking about this, and I don't really know what it is. For me, it was formal but informal, and there were expectations. I think it was expectations on you, to take responsibility for your journeys. I think for me that was what it was. You know, that as Malcolm said, you had the option whether you participated or not. And for me anyway, I wanted to get the most out of it that I could.
Because it was presented as students on a course and presented like a college with the college sort of umbrella over the top of it, rather than attending a session. You know what I mean? That mentally it puts people in a different place. Because it's a student and a college in a course, it's a completely different starting point. And therefore, the attitude that the students bring to their development, their journey, their progress, their desire to want to move forward is very different, because it's something they've chosen to do. And the starting point mentally is as a student. So you're here to learn rather than being told, if you know what I'm saying. And that flips the coin over the other way around. And I think that was the major point to people's willingness to take part and ability to be able to get so much out of what in this case was just a 6-week program.
I just love being a peer, and like Malcolm, I would love to do it again. And I've always been skeptical of peer roles, and most of the RAMH workers know this, but I am a convert, and I think anyone out there who has a skill or think they could contribute, but they don't, they're a bit unsure because they've may not been in a role for a while, you know, just ask, get involved, and you won't be asked to do anything that you can't manage, because at the back, behind you, you've got the RAMH workers, you've got a tutor, and, you know, it's just an opportunity to blossom and to bring back skills and to get new skills in your life and make great people along your journey. And I think it's just a great opportunity. And the expectations were told at the start of it, you know, and it was more formal because you were told, you know, this, and this is happening. And I do agree with Malcolm that the learning outcomes, it's a blast from the past, the learning outcomes of the students on it, you know, I think there was a lot more gotten out of it because you were there as a student.
can see both sides of the fence, as it were, delivers a product that you couldn't deliver if you were just literally on one side of the fence or the other. And that's critically the fundamental difference, I think. That was it. For me, that sort of summarizes it. And you know about the homework. Yes, we gave the students homework, and I got involved and did exactly the same projects, and great. And that's what I was talking about, my little snowball rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger. And that's the empowerment at the end of it all, that people are now empowered to go out and do this themselves. The students were saying, almost to a person, were saying, oh, we don't know what to do now. It's finished. What are we going to do?
The pilot scheme, for me anyway, was a win-win situation for everyone. It incorporated a lot of partnership work. It helped let the RAMH workers see what was involved in delivering courses. It gave peer trainees like Malcolm and myself the responsibility to be part of something very special and unique and to enhance our journeys. And most importantly, the students that came on board, I'm sure everyone, all of them, went away having learned something, having made new connections and new friends out there.
Yeah.
And as a whole, the whole project has united people and brought folk together and kept folks' well-being, just given us all something to look forward to and given us a sense of belonging in an uncertain time. And I think the amount of work and the amount of backroom staff involved in getting the project together, I mean, everyone should be applauded because it was a truly remarkable project. And I'm not going to use the word unique because I really hope it's continued in East Renfrewshire under RAMH in the future, because it's a much needed service and college that is sadly lacking just now.